Afternoon, folks. Two Davies on the 27th to the 1st, 2025. We'll get Facebook on board. As I said this morning, the other ones know, hold on a minute. Somebody's in the green room, and there's only two people get key to this fucking studio.
Hey.
Mulligan.
He's been up looking here.
Open my board, dear boy. Hold on, I get Facebook sorted out. How did your trip to the dentist go?
Removed a large tooth, and seemingly my speech therapist was right. It was my teeth that were causing the speech defect. So I've still got the anaesthetic. I'm still totally numb, but straight away I can feel a great improvement in my speech.
Well, that was the whole point of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
That's Facebook on board. We'll get a quick look and see who's in. We've got 56 in the house. Filling up nicely. So, wee Brucey bonus, folks. The other one is here.
The letter that I've got from the lasses, so I'll get the names.
Can I hear that?
I've got my headphone in. Yeah. There you go. Put that in. You hear it?
No.
So Madam Director couldn't hear us.
Yeah, I've got my earpiece in. So I just offered the other earpiece. So you got it?
Right, we're up at 86 for doing no bad.
Just before.
There's a look at these people here. Indy Scott Bryan, Lorraine Hay, Robert Bruce, Margaret, Nathan McAllister, Evelyn Hume. I see Regan O'Wheat's there, Ginger Giraffe's there, Jim Stevens there, Lucian. Oh, Lucian. Chris Fisher's in, Kevin Rowlick's in, Stephen Nicholl, Martin Boyd. Let's see any Facebookers here.
I'll just stop you there, right?
Right.
I promised 3 people who stood round me and pulled this bloody big molar out my mouth, right, that I would give them a mention on the Two Davies. I didn't realise I was going to do this one a day. This is above and beyond, as I say. With Francis, Ellie, and Kate. Kate, I think, is the one that had the mole grips.
Hey, we'll get the first of the Facebookers on. We'll get Donald Ray and Jane Loveland. And hi, Jane. Hi, Donald. Oh, we'll get Anne Ubelex in and all on the Facebook, I think. Yep. Two lefty voters in. Palestine begins a return to the north of Gaza as Israel army withdraws. We're going to talk about that reading the week. I've seen that Netanyahu was trying to put a stop to it, but we'll get there.
I think it's all a ploy. That's all a ploy. The Israeli army will pull back. People will go in. The Israeli army will come forward. Blow them to kingdom come. Simple as that.
Probably. Right, I guess we better get this one underway, David. As I said there,
yes.
27/01/25. Oh, Jesus, January's almost over. That was a quick one.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, first up, First Minister John Swinney sets out plans for NHS and adult social care reforms. Okay, now what's in it? Well, he promises to use the latest technology to bring down waiting lists. A major speech in Edinburgh today, Swinney set out Three priorities to reduce immediate pressures in the NHS and shift the balance from acute services to community and to use innovation to improve access to care. Now, what John was saying is patients are not getting the service that they should be getting and haven't been getting since 2020, obviously, when the pandemic started. That sort of altered the whole landscape medically in Scotland. Now, one of the things he's talking about then, David, which might be quite important, is to put acute nurses into A&E, and when vulnerable, fragile people turn up at A&E, they're taken out of that setting right away and taken to these nurses and specialist cares in a specialist care area, which will cut down the pressure on the A&E, because these people are older, they've got multiple illnesses, and they're setting up wee departments to deal with them separate after the A&E to cut down
Very good.
the use
Very
of
good.
A&E staff. Now, there's an idea that's been kicking about and operating in Scotland for a wee while now to help on the bed blocking, and that's hospitals at home. So, for example, David, you know fine well if you could have recovered at home if the equipment was there for you for most of your period that you were in hospital.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I was kicking around in a hospital, taking up a hospital bed. And if you imagine, this is 2 months after getting my leg taken off, right? So, really, it was a case of pain relief. That was it. Keep an eye on the scar, which could have been done by community nurses. So, the one thing I didn't have was a bed, was a hospital bed. One that goes up and down and all the rest of it, right? But as I discussed at the time, I said, do I need a hospital bed? Do I not just need a bed of a certain height? And that's basically it. So that I could get out of bed and be raised up a bit. And that's what I've got. I've got a small bed at the moment that's raised up so I can get up and stand up, right? But these people will be exactly the same. They'll be exactly the same.
David, as you know, after the pandemic, we did the day what England did and sell after £2,000 a pop hospital beds at 200 quid a pop to the American healthcare system. No, we kept them.
Yeah.
And since then, we have been using them for something called hospital at home.
Yeah.
Well, that's to be expanded by 2,000 beds, and that'll help alleviate bed blocking. Because there are patients in hospital who would be better recovering at home.
Yeah, can you imagine the savings to our National Health Service doing such a thing? Of actually, if it, just what it can be done. There are certain situations where it can be done, right? Just certain situations where it definitely can be done. And those are the times that they should have the special beds, hospital at home. That's it. And my goodness me. Bring it on.
Helen, good point. That's the next point that Mr. Swinney makes. So I'll bring your point up, Helen. And that is, until GPs get back to doing what they are paid to do, sadly, A&Es will never recover. Well, he's pumping more money into GP services, and he's targeted making 150. Stop that push, get down. He's targeting 150,000 extra NHS appointments each year. That's across all the fields, primary care and secondary care, David, you know.
Yeah.
So that's in the mix at all. Getting GP surgeries back to full working capacity. And as I say, with the use of technologies, GPs should be able to see more people a day than what they do when they see them eye to eye.
They're using the pandemic excuse to ad infinitum. It's ridiculous. And basically what's happened is, we ring our surgery now, you are told to expect that it's going to be a telephone appointment unless the doctor specifies otherwise.
Yep.
I haven't got the time to waste. Never mind somebody that's working. Yeah. So you imagine the situation where somebody that's working and that they go, right, fine, I've had to take a morning off work to try and answer the telephone when the doctor rings, because they don't speak to you there and then. They book a telephone appointment, right?
Right.
So the doctor rings, and then the doctor says, oh, I'm sorry, I can't deal with that on the phone, you'll have to come in.
Yep.
How are we going to... So these doctors are going to have to realise they're going to have to basically become how they were back before the pandemic. Simple as that.
Yep. But in the interim period, which is normally 5 or 10 minutes to the write up of notes between patients, they could be consulting with another patient on the phone.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of things can be dealt with on the phone.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But the thing is, though, what they're doing is they're making it whereby everything is dealt with by the phone.
It is becoming more and more automated. You're absolutely right. I mean, we've got 2 slots a day where you phone looking for an appointment.
Yeah,
8 in the morning and between 1 and 2 in the afternoon.
We have a lunch break between 12 and 2. That's obviously to accommodate all the staff, right?
Uh-huh.
But when you ring, it's the you're 5th in the queue, and then you sit there and you wait an age, and eventually you are 4th in the queue. That shows me there's not enough people answering the phone.
Well, it depends on the size of your surgery. The way my surgery deals with it, because it's a well-managed surgery, is 8 and 9 in the morning you phone for an appointment. Between 1 and 2 you phone for an appointment. And that's for between 8 and 9 is for that day. 1 and 2 is for the following morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they do is they allocate 1 GP out of the 6 for the telephone consultations.
Right. Mm.
That's how they do that. Right? And that GP will triage you and decide whether you should come and see a GP in the flesh, or whether you should go to your pharmacist and pick up a prescription which will be sent directly electronically from the GP surgery to the pharmacy.
Yeah.
So that's how a well-managed surgery does it. Okay.
Sometime I'll tell you how another surgery does it.
And because of that, the surgery that Sarah and I are signed up with manages to get through more patients than what they did the old way.
Yeah. All right. If there's an improvement, all for it.
Well,
but it seems to be
surgery, David, but it's down to good management. What the Scottish Government need to do is look at well-managed surgeries, find out what their model is, and expand it out the wing.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
So if you take a well-managed surgery like ours,
Right.
where it never takes, say, any more than 72 hours, 48 hours maximum to get to actually see a doctor physically, if we need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then that's an acceptable waiting period for most things when it comes to GPs.
Yeah.
The phone consultation.
If somebody's in pain, right, and they may think, I don't want to bother any with this, right? It could be some pain is in the head. It's not nothing. There's other pain that you cannot ignore. And it's not a case it's any more painful, it's just a mere fact of it's something that's actually physically breaking down. And I would say that there has to be a way whereby proper triage can take place. Now, it's supposed to be triage is carried out with the person that answers the telephone.
Uh-huh.
Don't seem to be getting that.
Oh, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, right. So, you have to be able to listen to a patient and go.
Your point, David, hold on a wee second, because I don't want to get bogged in this. There's more to this than getting GPs open back up again.
Yeah,
right?
I know, I appreciate that.
But on the point you were making about, having to arrange time to wait for a call, actually, it suits Sarah because she can be at work and know what time the call's coming in, so she can take a break at work for the call coming in.
What about works whereby they take your mobile phone off you as you go in, which is quite
When I
prevalent.
went about that sort of place, David, never worked in a place like that.
No, I worked with a few. That's a good
Aye,
track. Yeah.
I mean, chemical works in places like that, David. I've driven into them where I've had to hold these things out at the gate
Yeah.
because they could generate a spark, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but I've no. I mean, if you're working in such a place, I imagine you leave your mobile phone at a numbered box at the gatehouse
Yeah.
facility as you
So
go through.
effectively,
So
yeah.
if you know that you've got a doctor phoning you at 2 o'clock, you can arrange to be in that facility in the guardhouse at 2 o'clock.
Appreciate that, right? But you have to understand that it does cover an awful lot of circumstances where,
So as I say,
right,
what they need to do is look
perhaps,
at where the surgeries are getting it right. I don't want to get bogged in this because there's more to this and that. But as I say, where the surgeries are getting it right, using technology and seeing patients and getting through more volume, then that model should be looked at and rolled out.
yeah,
Okay. Now, as I say, what Swinney's saying is an extra 150,000 appointments across primary and secondary care. And he's talking about smarter and better care. You know, and that's including
Yeah.
pharmacists and the care
Yeah.
package, which has been going on here for a while, as you know, David. You got a minor ailment, you got a rash or something like that, unless it's something serious, like meningitis or something like that, then you're off down to get yourself some E45 at the pharmacy, aren't you? You know.
Yeah. Nowadays, the pharmacies are particularly helpful because somebody like me, they actually send somebody out to drop off my drugs. Yeah. So that's great. It's really a good help. And the lad that I've met and all the rest of it, I leave the door unlocked so he can wander straight in, drop off my drugs, and off he goes.
Yep. So
Okay.
they say it's quite a big speech in Edinburgh today. There's three principles behind his attempt to bring down waiting lists and a smarter care. That's the technology stuff. Splitting up certain types of treatments that are being carried out at A&E, like the new section where vulnerable people will be steered the minute they come in the door and get triaged. And of course, expanding hospitals at home to on-day bed blocking, and of course, as I say, the extra money into GP services. And there's special treatment centres opening up as well. That's no Charlie here, Stephen. That's David's cat.
Unfortunately, my little kitten hasn't been done yet, so she's on heat, and I believe that Charlie's been sticking his ears up every time she's been giving it meow. Yeah. So,
aye, he has.
yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
Right. So, folks, if you want to know what's in John Swinney's plan, Scottish Government website, and there's plenty of social media sites out there that will have a summary of what he said if you want that. But if you want the meat and two veg of it, Scottish Government website, okay. And it'll be under NHS Recovery Plan. All right, let's move on, David. Now, David, I brought to your attention today the Daily Fails headline here in Scotland.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
for those that don't watch my headline review programme in the morning, I'll stick it up.
Warning, SNP bad. SNP bad story coming up.
Aye, coming right up. Hold on, I'll need to shrink it back to size first. Righto. And let's share. For those of you who haven't seen this. Now, this is the Scottish Daily Mail, and it's one of the stupidest headlines. And this is how propaganda and gaslighting people work, folks. That's why I'm bringing it up. And that's why I'm bringing it up again and going to go into it in more depth. Now, what this says is Mail investigation reveals party has now launched almost 300 advisory groups on everything from plain lights to bee health. Now, proof SNP does run government by talking shop. It goes on to say that the SNP government, in the article, goes on to say the SNP government have spent hundreds of millions of pounds in drafting in experts. It's no talking shops, it's experts. I'll put that down. They shut that down, and then we get back to you and I, David. Now, I didn't get into much depth this morning. I just explained that it was a stupid bloody headline, and I then explained that that figure is over 17 years. The amount of times that the Scottish government has put in experts. It works.
No, hang on. We did discuss this side. It's not a stupid headline because these are not stupid people. Hello, darling. This is Juno.
Okay then.
Right.
All right.
It's basically set up. It's a colonial thing. It's trying to show Scotland off as being less than everything else. So therefore, you look back the other way. What does Westminster do, David?
The exact same thing, David, except if they do it badly. They tend to, what they do is they get their mates who have got a wee bit of experience in industries and call them experts. But we'll get to it. No, Molly, it's got nothing to do with the fact that there are committees in both parliaments. No, it's got to do with government realising its limitations, Molly. Okay, now what do we mean by governments realising their limitations, David? Huh?
Oh, I've got a wee kit
I'll explain governments realising their limitations then, shall I?
Yeah.
It's when you are in government and you want to do something.
Yeah.
But you know that within the group of people within your parliament, there is nobody with the expertise to be able to pull it off. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you draw together a panel of experts. And a fine example of this has been the M74 upgrade, done in time, done on budget. What do politicians know about laying roads? Nothing. So they bring in a panel of experts. It's the same way with the Queensferry Crossing, brought in on time, under budget. Why? Well, because politicians don't build bridges. They just bring together the right group of experts to get the job. Same with the Borders Railway. Politicians know nothing about laying railways, but they know there needed to be one.
And yet it came in under budget and on time, ahead of time.
Yep. Now, if we look at the two big hospitals that have recently been built in Edinburgh and America. Edinburgh and Glasgow. America. It's because Trump's driving around the fucking twisting room. But Edinburgh and Glasgow. Right. So we've got the new Edinburgh Royal Infirmary at Little France. Problems. The new Queen Elizabeth. Problems. Nothing that serious, but problems.
Yeah.
That's when the Scottish government realised, hold on a minute, we shouldn't be selecting these experts. We need a body within the Scottish government who have a general grip on what's required, who can then find the appropriate experts, have the experts, designers and everybody submit their plan to our office, we'll do it, do the due diligence, and then present it to the government and say, yep, we think that could work. These experts will go through their work, will go through their costing, will go through other estimates, and we think this could be done. Right, but as I say, what this is actually about is our 17, nearly 18 years in office, the Scottish Government have realised their limitations, so they've called together panels of experts to make things happen. Now, for example, the headline, Plain Lights and be held. Now, folks, I think David and I might have covered basically the reasons why these subjects required experts to advise the Scottish Government. Well, on the plain lighting thing, it had to do with the Scottish Government taking a Prestwick International Airport into government hands because there had been no money spent. And as it turned out, the guidelines for coming into that runway and for getting off that runway had to be replaced. So they brought in a bunch of aviation experts to advise them on the right lighting, how to space it, how to place it, and what alignment to have in reference to the runway. On the bee health thing, well, folks, you can get into your own garden. We ain't seeing very many bees anymore, and that's a big worry. And it was brought to the attention of the Scottish Government, and they put together rewilding experts to try and help save the bee population here in Scotland. It's about governments realising the limitations. And when you see a headline like that, folks, which has been propagandised to make it look as if the SNP are wasting money, it's a sign of good governance. Now, I can give you an example of very bad governance and the bad use of experts and the ignoring of experts. So we'll start halfway. Brexit.
Yes.
We got no expert opinions on Brexit because Michael Gove and the government didn't want us to get expert opinions, because if we had expert opinions, we would have known it was a fucking bad idea. Well, actually, here in Scotland had expert opinions. Those in Northern Ireland had expert opinions. Those in Wales and England didn't.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
another example of when you get the right team of experts would be HS2.
Yeah.
What they laid about fucking 2.5 mile of track for 90 billion quid. Another example of bad governance. 2 aircraft carriers that can't go into one water.
Yeah.
Type 46s that can't get into one water.
Yep.
Another example of bad governance. Ajax tank, 5 billion. Not a fucking single tank on tracks yet.
What about the sewage system in London?
Sewage carry on, aye. Don't even go there, David. Or the Jubilee line, that's about 1.2 billion. It was supposed to be 400 million. No.
Or the new nuclear power station that they're all bragging about.
Supposed to cost 9 billion and be open this year or next year. We're up at 90 billion and it'll be 30, 33, 30, 38 before it opens.
Yeah.
Bad governance, bad experts, bad management. But when you see this term, 300 talking shops, it's not 300 talking shops at all. That's when governments know the limitations and go looking for the answers with the experts.
So perhaps you can answer this one, David, right? That 300 talking shops as they're talking about, right? What period does that cover?
When this SNP came to power in 2007, the first 2007 till now.
2007. Right. So what are we talking about? 17 years?
Yeah.
Thereabouts, right? And so
a wee bit less, 15 years.
Right, okay. So what's that? Divide that into the 300 talking shops. How many talking shops would have per year?
17.6, so let's round it up to 18. So 18 times a year, something's come onto the Scottish Government's agenda which they're not equipped to deal with because they're politicians. And they've had to put together panels of experts.
Yeah.
So when it comes to building hospitals, building roads, building bridges, taking companies into public hands. Now we know there's been a couple of failures there as well, where the Scottish Government haven't got it right either.
You got it. Yeah.
No, it's fine, David. People can probably a wee bit of cat moan in the background. What do you call it? We can think of a BIFAB, where the Scottish Government got it wrong, but I think that has a lot to do with Westminster pulling the rug out from under them there. And of course, Ferguson Marine. That's been a bit of a disaster as well, but coming round now.
Totally. Yes, totally.
Yep.
So
there has been a couple
you can't look at the thing, Glen Sarks, you can't look at it any other way apart from it's been difficult, right? And it
Yeah.
could have been done better. And the unfortunately, that was a situation where experts were called on, but the experts were not producing the right solution. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And therefore, the ship ran over budget and over time for 6 years, actually. So,
Henry, you're getting the wrong end of the stick here. I think it's not bad governance. It's a legal way to screw the taxpayers. I don't know. It must be a conversation that's going on in there because what calling in people when you know your limitations. I mean, I need some electrical work done in my house. I'm a truck driver. I'm not going to try it myself. I'm going to call in an electrician.
yeah,
right.
You have to anyway. You've got to know anyway. So, yeah.
But the point is, David, that's what governments are doing when they're calling in these panels, these talk shops, they call them. They're a series of experts. There'll be engineers, designers, say it's a hospital, medical expertise, design expertise, engineers, construction experts, and all the different disciplines within each of these things in order to get things done. Now, what would a First Minister, who used to be a school teacher, know about, or a lawyer, or a banker, know about building a hospital? They don't. The right thing to do is to get in the experts.
They may have some general knowledge around about what they're talking about, but they wouldn't have the kind of detailed knowledge that an expert, a consultant, would have, right? And I can assure you, having been a consultant on several university jobs, that you don't charge tuppence halfpenny.
No, you don't.
Each time I was well rewarded for doing, but it was a lot of work. It was an awful lot of work. Yeah.
See, you imagine the amount of work that goes into designing a hospital, David, constructing a hospital. You know what I mean? There's a lot there.
No, this was
So
just.
the reason why I want to get a wee bit more in depth into this particular story is because it's been portrayed as a sign of the SNP government not being very good at anything in a talking shop. You know, a lot of talk, heads wasting money. It's no fault. That's how we get things done on time and on budget.
Call in Michael Gove or Boris or Starmer, and they've got the answers. They should be able to tell what to do.
That'll explain HS2, that will explain the VIP lanes. You know, these guys know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, so as I say, for example, a good example when a Scottish government got it wrong would be the first Labour administration when it came to building the Scottish Parliament. 40 million budget went to 400 million.
No, hang on. At first it was 20 million. Yes? And then it jumped up. And then it jumped up again. And then it became 400 million. That was mind-blowing. It really was.
But that's an example of what happens when you let an English party into the Parliament in Scotland. They make really bad decisions.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen in Westminster time and time again on public project after public project after public project. But we haven't seen it so much here because they call in the experts.
Yeah.
Now, let's move on. Rachel Reeves in Koenigsberg. Shall we play the clip, David?
Oh, yes, please.
I'll probably stop it a couple of times, folks.
Yeah. If you haven't seen this, I do advise that you really, really watch this. Watch closely.
You see that, aye?
Yeah, perfect.
I'll run it by it began.
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
You're going to let the Grangemouth refinery in Scotland go to the wall. It's one of the places in the country that could make sustainable air fuel. Nowhere in the UK makes it right now. So why not step in to help there?
We have given money to that local authority, and we are working with the Scottish Government with a growth plan for Grangemouth. It's a very difficult situation that we've.
That didn't take long to intervene, did it? She just stated there, point blank, that they have given money to Grangemouth.
To the local authority.
No, they haven't. They've pledged to give money. They have pledged to give 100 million.
Yes. Yeah.
But they haven't come up with a brass fucking fadding yet.
Yeah.
Not a penny, so let's go back and start it up again.
Find ourselves in, but we're working closely with the Scottish Government to support people in that area.
But it's due to close, and then at a later date there'd be fewer and different jobs as it makes a transition to become a different kind of plant, a fuel import depot. Those are skilled jobs in an industry where you could build a new one with sustainable aviation fuel. If you want the economy to grow and to create good jobs, isn't that exactly what you should be doing?
But we need to partner with business to create those good jobs.
Once again, time to stop it. Why does she have to partner with business? Oil is a publicly owned asset.
Yeah.
Why does she need to partner with private industry to create these jobs? In fact, the jobs don't need creating, as Koenigsberg has pointed out. They're already there.
Yes.
All you have to do is redesignate that plant to produce a different type of fuel. A type of fuel that isn't produced here.
And a rather interesting segue to put into this is the fact that she's talking about Teesside. Teesside are going to be
David, wait a minute. David, let her get to Teesside. But what Laura Koenigsberg is pointing out is, wait a minute, David, because when we get to Teesside, it's going to be interesting. Because what Laura Koenigsberg is pointing out here is the equipment's all there, the tanks are all there. There is no aviation fuel security in the UK because nobody produces it. Now, when we play the tape again, David, she'll go on talking about Teesside. Now, what Laura Koenigsberg said is that plant out there, which could produce fuel, is going to become an import storage facility. Now, it's going to be storing frack gas for America. Right?
Press the button.
But when she goes on to Teesside here, folks, we're going to tell you why she moved to Teesside to get away from the aviation fuel thing. Okay. So let's start that up again.
Paying decent wages. It's why we've invested, for example, alongside with BP and Equinor in Teesside and Merseyside in carbon capture and storage to support some of our energy-intensive industries like ceramics and cement and glass making, to preserve those jobs, to create new jobs in Britain. There are big opportunities as we decarbonise the economy to bring good jobs, given our industrial heritage, whether that's in Scotland and the north of England. And the good thing about these jobs is these are jobs in our former industrial heartlands and in our coastal communities. And we want to work, and we are working with businesses to unlock those jobs and growth opportunities.
Those are exactly the kind of jobs that might go in Grangemouth. Why are you going to let the...
Okay. Right. Now, when she go on to Teesside there, folks, and she was talking about the carbon capture technology, which we know, all knows. We all know you should be well aware of it. Dave and I covered this. It doesn't work. But the reason why she went away from oil and gas to carbon capture on Teesside is because Laura Koenigsberg's talking about producing aviation fuel in Grangemouth. And, of course, I don't know if you know this, folks, but there is a refinery in Teesside, but it's not really a refinery. It's an import storage facility. And guess which sort of fuel it stores, David? It stores
aviation fuel. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So if you were to produce it in Grangemouth, then that would put the people who work in Teesside.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the market for aviation fuel that's produced in Scotland at Grangemouth? And the amount of planes, if any of you have got one of these little programs that shows you the amount of flights going into and out of the UK, then my goodness me, these men could have their jobs secured for the next 100 years. No, maybe not. No, next 50 years, let's say, right?
Well, let's put it
So-
David. Koensberg makes a cracking point. If we don't have aviation fuel security, which we don't have, we should be producing it.
Correct.
Now, as I say, and it wouldn't have really affect Teesside because it'd be a staging area to get to English airports.
Yeah, don't forget, this Rachel Reeves is an ex-tea lady, basically, right?
Customer
And,
service officer.
And yeah, all right, okay. But she's doing what our government are trying not to do, which is saying, oh yeah, we'll do it this way, we'll do it that way. Oh, forget that, it's not a good idea, without actually calling in experts to give her proper advice. She maybe has had advice from the civil servants and went, no, I'm not listening to that. You know.
Helen Johnson says they will destroy Scotland, then they will give us our independence. They won't give us nothing. What they are doing is a rape and burn exercise because they know that independence is coming. Now, in the old days, when they were leaving a colony, they would shoot all the young men, set fire to fucking the agricultural products, and then they would leaving the place weak. They can't do that with us. So what they're going to do is assets to our economy, and then fuck off.
That's right. We are not going to ask for independence. They are not going to give us independence. What we're going to do is we're going to take our independence.
Anyway, that segment, folks, that segment came from Stephen Flynn's timeline on Facebook, the SNP Westminster leader. And he was pointing out it was a bloody cheat diverting away from what's happening in Scotland to go to Teesside.
Yeah.
But she probably regretted the Teesside thing because most days I've had a look and seen what's in Teesside, and that's when we realised there's a storage facility there.
Yeah, can you imagine if we've got two identical storage facilities, one in Teesside, one in Grangemouth, right? And we've got aviation fuel coming into Teesside. Is aviation fuel going to come into Grangemouth? No, it's not.
No, they're going to change that to a frack gas facility.
Yeah, that's right.
For storing gas coming in from America.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on. Borders Council about to go head to head with the Scottish Government over NIMBYism.
And what does NIMBYism stand for?
Not in my backyard.
Yep.
Anyway, what's it all about, folks? Council advised to oppose battery storage scheme in Eccles. Now, the councillors have been advised to oppose plans for another battery energy storage scheme in the rural corner of the Borders. If agreed, the plan...
Why do you need batteries, David? Why do you need
What?
batteries? Why are the batteries needed? Why are they required?
Well, what are batteries normally required for storing energy?
From what?
Obviously, for wind turbines at this point, aye.
Right. So at times when the wind isn't blowing,
then you discharge the battery.
You discharge the battery, which means that people have still got electricity in their homes.
Yes.
And how many homes will that the battery system serve?
That particular site will serve 30,000. There's 4 of them getting in to the Borders area.
Right. And if you look at the place where it's going into, there's a place called Eccles. Yeah, I can imagine. I've not been there. I've been to Kelso, which is near it, right? A huge golfing place, all the rest of it, right? I can imagine it's very nice. Really is very nice. Very rural. Yeah. And
agricultural area.
And these people do not want anything more to upset them. Simple as that.
Well, anyway, the planning officer in the Borders has advised that the council knocks this back, but that's where the council are going to come into a fight with the Scottish Government, because the final say will be with the Scottish Government, because the Scottish Government will pull in.
It's the old thing about planning, right? Your first protocol is planning in the councils. If the councils go the wrong way on something, right, that benefits the general public, then the Scottish Government are able to step in and go, sorry, but we're going to give planning permission for that. Yeah?
Yep.
End of.
Well, let's put it this way. These 4 facilities, when they're up and running, these battery storage facilities, will be able to supply 120,000 homes with electricity at times when the wind doesn't blow. Which isn't often.
Yeah, well, we had a look at the batteries, right? You're talking like truck containers, quite nice looking, obviously, right? That's where the battery backup is stored, and there's 5 rows of them, 3 deep, in the corner of a field, hidden where whatever's getting grown or whatever, right?
I'll put a picture of them up, David.
Yeah, go on.
I'll put a picture of them up. It's a Gettysburg image, so it's there for everybody to share.
Yeah.
There you go, folks. They look like shipping containers. They're not much, if anything, they're a wee bit longer than a shipping container. They're the same width as a shipping container. I mean, David, that could look like a caravan park, for fuck's sake, the way they're spaced out.
Yeah. In actual fact, you have the ability on a situation like that where you could actually, you could build something round about it so people would never see it. Simple as that.
Aye.
You know.
A forest round it. I mean, let's face it, there's one on that side.
That's right.
No. Anyway, that's what it's going to look. That's what it looks like, folks. This facility. Yeah. That's what it would look like once it's done. No, it's not that unattractive.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're in a corner of a field out the road, it's not in people's faces either.
Yeah.
You know. So, it's just daft. But as I say, the Scottish Government is negotiating between Borders Council and the Scottish Government over planning. Way it goes. Right, and moving on, David, because time is getting on. Scottish Water. Looks like there could be strike action there. United's starting to flex its muscles again.
That union, I believe, are out to cause Scotland problems.
Right, anyway, because we need to be quick on this one. They were offered 3.4% a pay rise. That's 1% above inflation, and it was the lowest employee in the company would have got an extra £1,200 a year.
Yeah.
Right. That was knocked back, so they offered to pay the lowest paid an extra £200 a year on top of that. Again.
Progressive.
And that was knocked back. And apparently, the grievance is that the directors and executives of Scottish Water have just been given a bumper pay rise. I doubt it. It's a public body.
105,000, I believe, is a golden goodbye.
Aye, but that's a goodbye. And I think that was a SEPA, was it? No, when they get rid of their banjo a couple of months back.
Yeah.
In 2024. I think we covered that on the programme, David. Anyway, so, folks, we could have the interruption to the water supplies. Okay.
Yeah.
So, just a heads up, Scottish Water might be on its strike. We've been here before with every other sector that's publicly run. This one shouldn't surprise us. I expect the same outcome as the same as the rest. No strike action, dispute settled. That's what I expect.
Simple way to deal with it at the moment in the interim is if there is going to be stops to supplies, is ginger bottles, whatever, clean them out, store some water just for the day. Then last thing at night, pour it out and refresh it.
Alternatively, rip a line to your local discount store and buy 12 bottles of water for £1.50.
Yeah.
Oh,
But we've got wonderful stuff coming out of the taps.
definitely, I don't pay for
Yeah.
I don't pay for water.
Yeah.
I leave that to the loonies. You're not buying water, you're buying a bottle. You're buying a bloody plastic bottle. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes.
Mineral water companies don't supply mineral water, they supply plastic bottles. Right, let's move on, David. Did you see Rachel Reeves over in Davos?
No, I purposefully ignored that one because
Well, you must have a good
Davos.
laugh.
No. But the thing is, so people in Davos, if you imagine, are people that are trying to control the world in ways that the rest of us don't want.
Oh, that's true. They control the world's finances, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rachel's there begging them all these big wigs with much money, to invest in the UK. She's there telling them that the UK is open for business. What do you think that resulted in? It resulted in an auditorium full of rich guys pissing themselves laughing.
Oh, dear.
I mean, there were two comedy acts at Davos this year. Donald Trump and Rachel Reeves.
Yeah.
That was this year's comedy acts. I'm fucking sure that's what they signed them for. No,
Yeah.
that was this year's comedy acts at Davos. Anyway, folks, just to let you know, the Wazzocks at Davos are not going to invest in the UK. They don't see any point in it. The UK shut itself off for all the local markets that these investors would like to invest in. So
Yep.
the springboard that used to be the UK is a gateway to Europe for a lot of places out with Europe. that's gone. So when Rachel Reeves was in Davos begging them to invest in the UK, they just laughed at her, laughed in their face.
Yeah.
Which brings us on to the next subject, which is that Rachel Reeves is just a slow motion version of Elizabeth Truss.
You mean the cabbage? You'd have to get a cabbage that lasts a wee bit longer.
No, she is a cabbage. Liz Truss just lasted as long as a lettuce. Cabbage will sit in the fridge a lot longer.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, what's happening? Well, unemployment's on the way up.
Yeah.
At this point in time, we're holding fine here in Scotland, but it's up by 0.1%. It's went to 4.3% to 4.4%, and about 150,000 people to the no, 150,000 people. But that's for the end of this round of layoffs. They're rating 150,000. They're taking up to 4.3 to 4.4. Took unemployment up by 50,000.
This is an interesting point about being part of a union, right? We're talking about England there, right? Now, let's say England's unemployment started to soar, started to really, really get bad, right? Somebody like Rachel Reeves won't look at Scotland in its own. What they'll do is they'll just put in a solution that covers the entire UK. And they'll go, right.
The Two Davies, she caused it. The supermarket change, the retail sector.
I appreciate that, right? But I'm saying, still in all, the solutions that she'll give will be for the entire UK that perhaps we don't need and don't want. Yeah?
Yep.
So therefore, this is another reason why it's time for independence.
Well, I knew you were going to get on at some point. There you go.
Well,
anyway,
come on.
But Rachel Reeves is just Liz Truss in slow-mo. She is crashing the economy just a bit slower. Now, the reason why unemployment is accelerating at this point in time is because after April, the changes to national insurance come in, and employers are dumping employees at a rapid rate of knots. We've got the supermarket in Sainsbury's just announced 3,800 layoffs.
Yeah. Well, we're also a good few years down the road from Brexit, and
Yep.
where you may find that certain companies will have gone, we can get through it, we can do this, we do this, right? Find they can't.
No, they're
That's it.
starting to exhaust their funds. They're looking for
Yeah.
ways to cut their cloth. The cost of being an employer just went up,
Right?
thanks to the Chancellor.
Yeah.
So now the amount of the unemployment figures are starting to accelerate. So Reeves is an unmitigated disaster. And to just top it all up, this weekend, apart from talking to Koonsberg, she was also saying that she's going to put growth in front of climate change. So there goes the Labour Party's green credentials. That green revolution was supposed to have. No, that's on. The brakes are on in that. And because of Rachel Reid's choices, Starmer's had to defy Trump on demands for increased defence spending. They don't have it, apparently. And of course, David, as we know, because her policy is reducing the amount of people who are employed, that costs the government money, and it also costs them a double whammy because they're not getting the tax revenue into these people working, and they're having to pay out unemployment benefit to them.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say she's a disaster.
Yeah.
She is Liz Truss in slow-mo.
Yeah.
Absolute slow motion. And of course, as we know, David, if you want to improve an economy, because it's a market economy, you put money directly into the pockets of the people. Now, we know that works, and we have a couple of examples. We have Portugal and we have Iceland.
My
Iceland's
goodness.
a prime example.
Yep. It's like, if you want your population to do well, A, you want your tax receipts to do well, B, and what you do is you find projects that the government can throw money into that they get back in tax anyway. If they give that money to billionaires, then that money will go offshore and you'll never see it again. You give it to workers and they will use it in the economy that you're in.
That's right.
Yeah.
You want growth, you give people money.
Yeah.
Reeves
Right.
isn't doing that. She's taking money out of the pockets of the employer. She's taking money out of the pockets of the employed. She is impoverishing the country even more. Sorry, the union even more.
Union even more. That's right.
Right.
Yet again, we'll maybe, as you did that wee gaff there, so it's all right, dude. Right? Does anybody know? Oh, blimmin' heck, Mr. He.
David, we'll get Mr. Ease up. I want you to know, folks, I've just checked the bank, and you guys gave us £1,200 between the 21st of December and the 21st of January. So David and I will get to work putting that out the door.
I can assure you, it's very, very humbling. It really is.
Yep. And thank you, Mr.
Right. Question I was going to ask was, yet again, what's the capital of the United Kingdom?
I've had this one up times.
I know we've had it up, but what we're doing is we're giving people ammunition to hit people with leading up to an election.
No,
asking that question of just Uncle Tom and Cobbler and all, please just do it, and you'll find what you get.
Time, dear boy. There we go. Nick Trump, there, Israel is there again. I wanted to talk about Trump especially, so I guess I'll just need to do a wee 5-minute special tomorrow on Trump and his executive orders.
Can't stand Trump. Cannot stand him. Simple as that.
Doesn't mean David, we still have to know what he's about and what he's doing, and and we have to talk about the absolute atmosphere of fear he has created in America for undocumented immigrants, their children, the LGBT community, women. He has started started his first week in office with a reign of fucking terror.
And what about Mexico? The
Don't have
president
time
of
to talk
Mexico
about-
is
You don't have
basically
time.
saying, he's basically saying you're going to have no food.
We don't have time to talk about the response of the Mexican president, the Colombian president, the fight he had with the Danish prime minister. We don't have time to talk about these things because we took too long on other things again.
Well, like asking what the capital of the UK is. Oh, all right, okay.
No, David, just a segue off on other things as we get through the subject, which is
But
understandable.
Mr. E, that was incredible, mate. That really was.
And Laura gave us 400 quid staying in the bank.
Bloody hell, man.
Unbelievable. So, you guys are awfully generous. And by the way, folks, after the payout between the 21st and the 26th of January, I only checked today yesterday because it comes between the 21st and the 26th of each month. Even after the cut-off point, you have given us over 270 quid. Make that 370 quid up. Whatever we get from Mr. V's donation, these guys are amazing. They say,
right,
now that we know I know it's there, we'll get about getting it out to food banks. They're going to Inverness and Moray this time round, and then they're going to Stirling and Kilmarnockshire next time round.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
right. One question I've got. As you know, I've had a stroke, and also I've had this surgery on my mouth, right?
Right.
Has my speech improved? There you go.
I did it, but it was improving. Of course it's improved. And it will definitely get better as long as you keep in your head that these things were the problem. Not the fact that you're a doddery old cunt.
Takes one to know one.
Yeah. Right, listen guys, as usual, thank you very much for tuning in in such massive numbers. Please hit the subscribe button, it helps the algorithm. Please hit the like button. It's up to you whether you share it around or no, folks. We can't ask you to do that, or we can, but it's up to you whether you do it or no. Okay.
You ask people what the capital of UK is. Right, there we go.
Right, and folks, remember, there's a lot of good information out there on YouTube. Ignore the mainstream media. It's bad for your health, it rots your brain, and brings on clinical depression. That just leaves one thing left for us today, David.
Keep your eyes on the prize. And time for independence.
I've got work to go to. See you lot tomorrow morning, 10:30. Don't be late. You, delivery one. Off you pop.